I honestly had to double-check the date on my phone when the notification popped up this morning.
Right.
It's Monday, February 16, 2026, President's Day. Usually a super quiet day in the NFL news cycle.
Yeah. Maybe some combine prep talk, nothing major.
But then, boom, the
Mm.
alert comes through, and I'm just staring at it thinking it's going to be a prank account or something. Tyreek Hill, released by the Miami Dolphins.
It definitely wakes you up faster than a double shot of espresso. It's one of those headlines that feels inevitable and impossible at the same time.
Yeah.
We are talking about the Cheetahs, an 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, a guy who, for a good 3-year stretch, was maybe the single most terrifying player to line up against.
And just like that, the experiment in Miami is over. It feels like the end of an era, doesn't it?
It really does.
I mean, I know the last year or so has been rocky, and we'll definitely get into the weeds on that, but just seeing the word released next to his name, it hits different.
It is the ultimate reminder of how fast things change. But what's so fascinating here, if you look at the stack of reporting we have today from ESPN, NFL Network, some deeper stuff from the Palm Beach Post and USA Today, this isn't just a simple roster cut.
No.
This is a collision. You've got high-stakes finance, a catastrophic injury recovery, and a franchise hitting the reset button all at once.
So let's peel back the layers here. Because on the surface, cutting your most famous player,
Yeah.
it sounds insane, but I was looking at the cap sheets this morning, and it seems like Miami didn't just want to do this.
No, they had to.
They mathematically had to.
That is exactly right. You have to start with the money because that is the engine driving this whole thing. Before this morning, the Dolphins were in a salary cap straitjacket. They were an estimated $17.4 million over the cap. And in the NFL, you can't operate like that. You can't sign rookies. You can't fill roster spots. They were totally paralyzed.
Right, so they needed to shed weight fast.
Yeah.
And releasing Hill clears, what is it, around $22.8 million in space for 2026?
22.8. Yeah, it's a massive amount of breathing room.
It is.
It takes them from being deep in the red to actually having a little bit of spending money. But, and this is the part that always confuses people, it comes with a massive sting. We always talk about cap savings, but we have to talk about the dead money.
Yeah, let's break that down because I saw that number, $28.2 million in dead money. So that means Miami is taking a $28 million hit on their books for Tyreek Hill to not play for them. That just sounds like terrible business. Why would you pay a ghost tax that high?
Okay, so think of it like a credit card with a 0% introductory APR. Back in 2022, 2023, when Miami was building that greatest show on surf offense, they were just swiping the card.
Right.
They gave Hill these huge signing bonuses, but they spread the cap hit out over future years to keep the team competitive then. Well, 2026 is the year the bill finally comes due.
Ah.
That $28 million isn't new money they're paying him. It's money they already paid him in cash years ago, but they hadn't accounted for it on the salary cap yet.
So the bill finally hit the mailbox.
Exactly. They pushed the pain down the road to chase a Super Bowl, the window slammed shut, and now the bill is still there. But there is a very specific reason this happened today.
The guarantee trigger, right.
Spot on. Hill had a clause in his contract. $11 million of his 2026 salary was set to become fully guaranteed later this month.
Okay.
If he was on the roster past that date, Miami owes him that $11 million in cash, period. By cutting him today, they avoid writing that check.
So that makes sense. You can swallow the dead cap hit because that's just accounting. But writing an actual check for $11 million to a guy who might not even play for you, that's a non-starter.
Total non-starter.
But here's the wrinkle that I think is huge for him personally. Because he was released, he doesn't have to wait for the new league year to start, right?
That is the silver lining for Tyreek. Most free agents, the guys whose contracts just expire,
Yeah, they have to wait.
they have to wait until March 13th. They're in limbo. Hill is on the street now. If a team wanted to, they could fly him out for a physical tonight.
Which is a massive advantage, theoretically, if he was healthy. But we have to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the knee.
Oh, yeah.
Because we aren't talking about 2023 Tyreek Hill here.
No, we are not. And to understand the tragedy of where we are, you have to remember just how high the mountain was that he fell from. I was looking back at his first 2 years in Miami, and the stats they're actually ridiculous.
It was video game stuff. I remember watching those games. He wasn't just fast. He was playing at a completely different speed than everybody else.
He was historic. In 2022 and 2023, he went over 1,700 receiving yards in both seasons.
Oh.
He's the only player in the entire history of the NFL to do that twice. Not Jerry Rice, not Calvin Johnson, nobody.
Wow.
In 2023, he led the league with 1,799 yards and 13 touchdowns. He was, without a doubt, the most valuable non-quarterback in the game.
And that's what makes the drop-off feel so steep. It wasn't a slow decline. It just fell off a cliff. 2024 was rough, but 2025 was a complete disaster.
The crack started in 2024. The offense stalled a bit. Defenses figured out how to bracket him better, and he dropped to 959 yards, which, let's be fair,
It's still a great year for most guys.
for 90% of the league, that's a career year. For the Cheetah, it looked like a slump.
And that's when the weirdness started. You remember that Tuesday after Week 18 in 2024, the whole pseudo-trade request thing?
So vividly. He puts it out there that he wants out, the media goes nuts, and then like 2 hours later, he pulls it back and says, no, we're good. I want to be here.
So strange.
It was bizarre. It felt like a cry for attention or, I don't know, a negotiation tactic gone wrong, but it set a really weird tone going into 2025.
And then the injury. Week 4 against the Jets,
Yeah.
September 29, 2025. I remember seeing the replay, and you knew immediately.
It's the nightmare scenario for a speed receiver. Dislocated knee, torn ACL, and we need to be really specific about what that means for him.
Right.
If you're a big possession receiver, like a Mike Evans type, you can come back from an ACL and still use your size to box people out. Tyreek Hill's entire game.
It's on Twitch.
It's based on Twitch. Lateral agility. The ability to stop on a dime and start again faster than the guy guarding him.
It's the torque. When he plants that foot to make a cut, the amount of force going through that knee has to be insane.
Exactly. And reconstructing an ACL is one thing. Reconstructing it to handle the force generated by one of the fastest humans on Earth, that's another.
Yeah.
And he's doing this rehab at age 31, about to be 32. Tissues just don't heal as elastically as they do when you're 24.
Father time is undefeated, as they say. So you have a 32-year-old speedster with a reconstructed knee. It's a massive gamble. But zooming out from Hill for a second, this move today wasn't just about him, was it?
Not at all.
Looking at the transaction wire, it was like a massacre in Miami.
This is where we have to talk about the new regime. This is the part of the story that gets overlooked because Hill's name is so big. The Miami Dolphins we knew for the last few years, the Mike McDaniel era, the fun vibes.
That's over.
That is dead and buried.
Yeah, McDaniel's gone, and now we have Jeff Hafley as the head coach and John Eric Sullivan as the GM. And they clearly woke up this morning and chose violence.
They chose a complete reset. It wasn't just Hill. I mean, look at the list. Bradley Chubb, their star pass rusher, gone. James Daniels, a solid starting guard, released. Nick Westbrook-Ikine released in one day by cutting those guys. Sullivan cleared over $56 million in cap space.
That is aggressive. That's not retooling. That is stripping the house down to the studs.
It's classic year one behavior. John Eric Sullivan walks into that building. He looks at the roster. He didn't draft these guys. He didn't trade for Tyreek Hill.
He has no attachment.
Zero emotional attachment to the Cheetah highlights from 3 years ago. To him, these are just expensive contracts for aging players that don't fit his timeline.
It feels a little cold, honestly. I mean, I get the business logic, but from a fan perspective, you're cutting the guys who sold all the jerseys.
It is cold. But Sullivan and Hafley are looking at a team that underachieved and got way too expensive. Their job is to build a team that's sustainable for the next 5 years, not pay for the memories of the last 3.
So they're eating the dead money now to have a clean slate in 2027.
Exactly. For Miami, the page is turned. They're moving on. But for Tyreek Hill, I mean, he's at a serious crossroads.
Yeah.
And reading through that Palm Beach Post article, this does not sound like a guy who is 100% sure what he wants to do next.
That's the human element here. We see the athlete, but the sources paint a picture of a man who's really conflicted. And he's been dealing with a lot off the field.
A lot. The family situation is, well, it's complex.
To put it mildly.
Sullivan Hill is a father of 7 children from various relationships. In 2024 alone, there were multiple paternity confirmations. Trey Love, Capri, I mean, these are real responsibilities. He's also estranged from his wife, Keita Vaccaro.
So he's sitting there rehabbing a really painful injury, dealing with a complicated family dynamic. And you got to think he's asking himself, do I still need this?
There's that quote he gave back in October, right after the surgery, that really stuck with me. He said he just wanted to live in the moment and be with his kids. Yeah. He said staying at the top takes a lot, and I think we underestimate what that means. ACL rehab isn't just going to the gym for an hour.
No.
It is months and months of monotonous, painful, isolated work. It's mental torture. And he's sitting there thinking, I've got Super Bowl rings, I've made over $100 million. Do I really want to grind for 9 months just to maybe beat 80% of who I was?
But then you've got the flip side, the finances. 7 kids is a lot of overhead, my friend.
It is a massive roster to support, and that might be the deciding factor. He might not want to go through another training camp, but he might feel the pressure to secure one last bag
I want a last payday.
to make sure that generational wealth is truly secure for all of his children.
Okay, so let's play GM for a second. Let's say the financial pressure or just the competitive fire wins out.
Yeah.
He decides he's playing in 2026. He's a free agent right now. Where does he go?
Well, the sources say he's still an intriguing name, but the market for a 32-year-old receiver with a bad knee, it's not going to be overflowing with long-term offers.
Yeah.
But there is one narrative that is just screaming at us.
Are all thinking it. Kansas City.
The reunion. It makes almost too much sense. He won a Super Bowl there. He knows Patrick Mahomes. He knows Andy Reid's system. If you're Tyreek Hill and you want to prove you still got it without having to learn a whole new playbook, you go back home.
And from the Chiefs' side, they are always looking for weapons. Even a diminished Tyreek Hill is still scary in that offense. But are there other teams sniffing around?
Pro Football Focus threw out a few interesting names. The Buffalo Bills, which would just be pure spite.
Oh, I kind of love that drama.
Imagine him staying in the division just to haunt the Dolphins twice a year. That would be incredible television.
It would.
The San Francisco 49ers are always mentioned because of the Shanahan offense. And then you have teams like the Patriots or Broncos who are just desperate for anyone who can catch a football. But here's the catch.
The time.
And it's a big one. The timeline. When can he actually play? The injury was late September 2025. A standard ACL recovery is 9 to 12 months.
So that puts him maybe ready for week 1 of 2026. Maybe.
Maybe. But at his age, setbacks are common. If I'm a GM, I'm not signing him to be my #1 receiver in September. I'm signing him to be a luxury weapon for a playoff run in December.
So you're basically stashing him. You sign him to a cheap, incentive-laden deal, let him rehab on his own time, and hope he can give you 20 snaps a game when it really matters.
Exactly. You're not paying for the 1,700-yard cheetah anymore. You're paying for the veteran who can still maybe outrun a safety on 3rd and long in the playoffs.
It's just a sobering reality check. We get so used to these guys being superheroes. We watch the highlights, the backflips, the peace signs. We think they're invincible. And then you get a day like today, and you realize the economics and the biology, they eventually catch up to everyone.
That's the lesson here. The NFL is a business first, second, and third. Miami got 2 historic years out of Hill, but the second the bill came due and the body broke down, they moved on without blinking. It's harsh, but it's the ecosystem.
So as we wrap this up, what is the one thing you want listeners to chew on after hearing all this?
I'm thinking about the future of the non-quarterback superstar. We're seeing a trend here. Tyreek Hill was making $30 million a year. Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp. We've seen these massive receiver contracts, but look at how quickly Miami pulled the plug.
They ate $28 million just to make him go away.
It makes you wonder if teams are going to get scared off from paying the next guy, right? My provocative question is this. Is the era of the mega contract for wide receivers dying? When you see a team like Miami choose cap flexibility over a Hall of Fame talent, does that signal a real shift? Are we moving toward a league where receivers are treated more like running backs, use them while they're cheap and young, and discard them the second they get expensive?
Or will a team like the Chiefs look at Hill and say, no, talent is talent, and we'll pay whatever it takes?
That is the $30 million question. Can you put a price tag on fear? Because that's what Tyreek Hill used to be, pure fear for a defense. Whether he can be that again, well, we'll have to wait and see.
Thanks for hanging out with us for this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for listening.